Now, what happens when we imitate patterns voluntarily or involuntarily that cause harm, pain, or burnout? As our brains are sorting through all of this data, familiar, easy, consistent, normal, comfortable, all it's doing is functioning. It's keeping existing structures in place because that is the best way to conserve energy and keep functioning. I get it. We live in a world where being on and being streamlined is the preferred option, and sometimes the only option. Work, hustling, neurodivergent masking, long hours, commutes, inaccessible care, violence, body-based prejudice. It makes sense why we're in a global mental health crisis mode. It also makes sense why your nervous system occasionally flips tables and yells, "Divert all power to shields." It's not just the stories and patterns we consume that are created by others. It's the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what we're capable of, and our perceived destiny and trajectory, our own journey through the stars. Predictive processing. It's the stories we tell ourselves about our future. Cozy sci-fi can be a way to make sure your warp core doesn't burn out before the next episode. Sometimes cozy stories can be getting back in a rhythm and flow. Sometimes they can be about getting our systems back to baseline. Being in space dock, open a portal to cell regeneration and rest. Gotta integrate, update, and run those repairs. Sometimes cozy stories can be about inducing those gorgeous neurotransmitter reaction harmony chains of reactions. Anything that's pleasant, hopeful, connected, restful, easy, or happy. Choosing a space where we can mend and regenerate can feel radical if all we've been offered is that single, on-streamlined option. Can you imagine if we had mirrored for us, again and again, stories where characters said, "Problems are real, and we can solve them together." Or, "We're overwhelmed. We're gonna pause and have a snack, and then try again." I think that in stories, when folks describe a sense of home or the central home base, they're talking about this. Maybe not the home that exists around us, but definitely the home we want to be in, that we're daydreaming about or that we're building. It probably feels soft, vulnerable, authentic, safe, real, a magical neurophysiological state where connection, laughter, shared purpose, bonding, nourishment, growth, care receiving, caregiving, and creativity all intersect. It's full of patterns and routines that initiate that hormonal chemical oxytocin, it's been a long day, y'all, reaction that promotes ease, calm, and bonding. Of course, bioregulation looks different for everyone. We all have different windows of homeostasis, but just knowing that our sensory input can impact our internal structures and our connections with others gives us tools to co-create shared rhythms and stories that are what we want them to be. It's a powerful choice to becoming the captain that you want to be on your own bridge. All right, let's get to some cozy captains. There are 5 portraits here of Starfleet captains against a backdrop of space, images sourced from Memory Alpha. These captains, in their bridge chairs and across the ship, offer us models of comforting, familiar, or soft moments amidst all the chaos and adventure. And speaking of chaos, let's start with Captain Carol Freeman, USS Cerritos. The Cerritos might be a mess, but it's their mess. We all need a place where we can be our weirdest, funniest, most over-the-top selves, and where that doesn't matter because everyone is weird, funny, or over the top. Like FanX. Freeman is weird and funny and committed to her crew. It can be so comforting to feel that no matter what is happening, your captain's got you. Captain Freeman reminds me to be myself and to be there for myself. Captain Christopher Pike, USS Discovery and USS Enterprise. I'm just gonna skip right to it, the cooking. If you cook, they will come. We've all done it. There's a gathering, you're not planning on going, but then you find out they're baking and barbecuing. You're planning on going. Imagine, the door to the captain's quarters opens. You hear laughter and smell roasted onions and bacon. You move into the room and see a crackling fire and feel the back of your throat tingle with molecules from roasted chilies. You notice the sizzle of oil as it meets a cast iron pan. Warm yeasty dough rises on the counter. Garlic and herbs bubble in broth. The captain smiles and waves, then pulls a bread loaf on a wood peel from the oven. Ladles clink against ceramic bowls. You're handed a steel mug that feels warm and steams. Smiling crew members lean away from the bulkheads and pull up chairs, elbows brushing. The table almost hums, the hearth at the heart of the starship. Come on, who could really turn down an invite to a pipe dinner party? It's hands-on hospitality and care. It's leadership through nourishment. He's basically Starfleet's unofficial dad. You show up stressed, and then you get humor, honesty, a home-cooked meal, and reassurance that you've tackled a lot of hard things, and you are capable of tackling your future. Captain Benjamin Sisko, Deep Space Nine. So many comforting rhythms and moments. Cooking, fishing, growing peppers, jazz, singing, parenting, handcrafting an ancient starship, and baseball. Now, I'm not a knowledgeable sports person, but I really appreciate what a human game about cooperation and uncertain outcome does in the context of interstellar stories. It's a way for a parent and child to spend time together. It's a way for acquaintances to build friendships. It's a way to engage with your crew as a team. It's a way to tackle arrogant rivals. And it's a way to explain your existence to non-corporeal, non-linear wormhole aliens. The baseball that Sisko keeps on his desk even becomes a visual reminder of all of this, a tool and a talisman. Humans have a way of collecting those. So do captains. Captain Chakotay, USS Protostar. As I was building this, I found myself thinking of this photo. Chakotay always reminds me of Earth. I took this photo years ago next to the Jordan River. Everyone I've shown it to thought it was a painting. The many shapes of clouds and various shades of blue, the distant pink of a sunrise, the brush, grasses, and cattails growing on the shore, the clouds reflecting in the water. This is the land that holds me. Thank you, Chakotay, for always reminding me to look to the land. Mountains, rivers, parkways, loops, trails, sunflowers, rabbit brush, starlings, turkeys, oaks, praying mantis, bumblebees, pronghorn, the hawks and mallards that hunt and nest in my neighborhood. This homeland of the Timpanogos, Eastern Shoshone, Goshute, and Ute peoples. I was brought to this land and these waters when I was young, without ancestral ties. And I've dwelt here most of my life. It's taken care of me. And I've tried to take care of it by sharing my stories with it, constantly recommitting to weaving stories that include all voices and stewarding these stories for the next generation. Captain Saru, USS Discovery, the only Starfleet captain who can sense your fear before you do, and then calmly offer you tea among the kelp fronds of his shipboard garden while queuing up a Buster Keaton film in the ship's shuttle bay. I call Saru the gardener captain. He leads like an ecosystem caretaker, tending, guiding, thriving, allowing, knowing that every member of the crew needs something slightly different to thrive. He's practical without being cold, grounded without being rigid, and open to options without losing direction. Saru shows that command can be quiet, steady, and nourishing. Leadership is cultivation. So let's get to some tools